What is up, everybody? Olivia Moody here, joined by host MikeyOver. We're back for another episode of Talk, and today we have a very special guest, Ariel Epstein, the prop queen. We felt that it was very fitting, especially after my rough betting night last night. I figured what better way to get some props rolling tonight than to have the prop queen herself talk us through it, give us her props. Ariel, thanks for joining.
Ariel,
Thanks for having me. I honestly, I haven't switched over to wine yet. I'm still on coffee.
I'll be on wine soon. I'm with you
wine soon. It's almost happy hour here on the East Coast, especially after these NBA props tonight, Liv. I'm sorry, guys. I know that you had me over for the props. Last night might have been a rough one for you. Tonight sucks. The props are really sharp out there on the FanDuel Sportsbook especially. I think we have some unique ways. If we combine all three of our minds together, we will find some value in props in the NBA. You just might have to do it a little bit more in a unique way.
Well, for sure.
Absolutely.
And we were talking before the show started, and I was going back and forth on this one particular prop, and I just decided to
back and forth.
Literally, I just took my pen and scribbled it out because you know what? Some nights the slate, like you said, sucks, and you don't have to bet a prop on everything. So I have one that I like tonight so far. Maybe I'll look at some other games and dive a little deeper. But for now, I'm with you, Ariel. I do not like the slate tonight. There's nothing that's appealing about it. We have some props, though. We did find some gems in the diamond in the rough. Gems.
That's a good way. Diamond in the rough. It's rough, but we tend to be diamond.
It's rough, but we found a few diamonds here and there. So we might as well just get into it. Mike, you've been pretty successful with your props lately. What do you like tonight when you're taking a look at the slate?
Yeah, successful lately is not a phrase I would use after yesterday. You know, I mean, make no mistake, I'm a big Hornets guy, and every time they play, I got to put some props down. So yesterday, I put an over on LaMelo, PJ Washington, and Gordon Hayward, all three of them. And make no mistake, I took an absolute bath, and none of them hit. But we're back to the drawing board again today, and I'm liking two props. And one of them, of course, going back to the well, is LaMelo Ball over 15.5 points. He's hit this in his last three. I am the third ball brother. No, but he did this in 3 of the last 5. He had a streaky game last night, and he ended up only scoring 14, but I like him getting over 15.5 against this Laker team. He went on a TV show today and said that he wasn't concerned or excited about playing against LeBron at all. Love that energy. As a rookie saying, doesn't faze me. Doesn't faze me. I think he's going to go off for about probably 20 points, and I might just put my money where my mouth is. But over 15.5, I really like in that game. And then in the Suns game too, Liv. I know you've heard his name before. Mikal Bridges.
I've heard
He's a guy that averages around the 8 to 10, 11-point mark. The line is at 12.5 right now against the Timberwolves. I really like Mikal Bridges in this game for no reason, to be totally honest with you. He's hit over 12.5 in 3 of the last 5, but it's just one of these, it's a gut feeling, guys. I got the gut feeling, and I'm a guy I bet with the gut. And I woke up this morning, I scrolled through FanDuel, I went to that Suns game, and I was like, Mikal Bridges 12.5, that feels good. And that's the only reason why I took that one.
I have to ask you, because I had a little bit of concern when I saw the spread that we may see a potential blowout. Do you think that Mikal is a player that will continue to get playing time if they are up or down by a significant number? Do you think that this is a player that won't be affected greatly by a blowout? Are you concerned with that at all?
I'm not concerned with the blowout factor for Mikal Bridges very much. He's kind of a guy, I think he's worked his way into the starting lineup now, but I think he's one of these guys where if the game starts getting away from the Timberwolves and the Suns are really running it up, I think he's a guy the coach leaves on the floor because you're going to want to rest your Devin Bookers, your Chris Pauls, and your DeAndre Aidens. Mikal Bridges is not really a guy that you're going to really want to rest, if that makes sense. You need somebody out there that's kind of can control the tempo and the pace, and he's one of those guys for sure.
Love it. Ariel, we need your good energy magic on this show right now because again, the last time we had an episode, we were pretty successful. I think I was clean sweep 3-0. MikeyOver, you were 2-1 or something.
2-1.
2-1. So we did pretty well. But last night, man, I think maybe it's because we didn't have the show. We were off our game a little. It threw us off.
Bad juju.
Yeah, I need the show.
Bring that good energy, Ariel, because you know what the heck you're talking about, and you have really made a name for yourself in this industry when it comes to props. You are the prop queen. So what do you like tonight? What's your diamond in the rough, I should say?
Okay. So I do have a few. I have one flat out prop that I like, and that is for the assist leader of the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul, to go over his assist prop of 8.5. Paul's hit this number in 6 of his last 10 games, in addition to hitting this in 11 of 18 games where he's faced a team that's bottom 10 in assists allowed. That's the team he's up against tonight. The Minnesota Timberwolves have allowed the 6th most assists per game in the NBA. I think that Paul has the opportunity here to be able to hit that prop. I also have seen that in 6 of 16 games, the assist leaders around the NBA have also hit this prop, including LeBron James, who had 12, Trae Young, who had 13, and Russell Westbrook, who had 12, and Damian Lillard had 10. So those are 4 of the assist leaders in the NBA, and you've got Chris Paul right in the middle of that crew. I think he has the 4th most assists per game in the NBA right now, which leads me to thinking that 8.5, at least you see on the stats, 11 of 18 against bottom 10 teams against assists, and 6 of his last 10 games have gone over this number of 8.5. You know it hits more than it doesn't. Now, there were some other spots that I really liked, and you spoke about blowouts. I'm really nervous about this Jazz team going up against Washington, laying 12 or 11 points right now on FanDuel. Washington's second leg of a back-to-back. Washington not only allows the most points per game in the league, Washington also allows the 4th most rebounds per game in the league, just about 48 rebounds per game. Because of the blowout factor, Rudy Gobert has hurt me so many times by either the hook or by a board, just because the Jazz are always leading by so many points that the Jazz decide to sit their leading center, who, by the way, has the 2nd most rebounds per game in the NBA behind Clint Capella of the Hawks. I think that the good way to play this is you could take Royce O'Neal, 6 or more rebounds, parlay it with Rudy Gobert, 12 or more rebounds, and you get it around plus 120 on FanDuel. People might say, oh, well, you're eating a lot of the juice, etc. Well, if I'm going to come out profitable, if I feel that that can really hit, which I do think it can, because think about it. If Gobert gets taken out because of just winning by too much, then usually it drops by, again, a board or 2. Well, then I'm getting that right now. 12 rebounds instead of the over 13.5, which is his prop. 12 rebounds, 6 rebounds for O'Neal, 12 rebounds for Gobert, parlay it together for plus 120. The other prop that I'm looking at is for Atlanta. I'm waiting for the news on Clint Capella before I would actually bite on this. Yet the power forward, John Collins, has had 10 or more boards in both games since Capella's been out. His prop's at 8.5 for Collins. If Capella's not playing, then I wouldn't have any problem taking over 8.5 boards for Collins against Oklahoma City, who allows the 5th most rebounds per game in the NBA.
I mean, I feel like we just stepped into a kitchen because that was sharp. I mean,
I was just about to say that was music to my ears. At a certain point, I was like, I don't even care what she's saying anymore. I'm locking it in.
Let's also just
out the toolbox and I started hammering.
Okay? Let's also, address the fact that followed me saying I'm taking McCall Bridges because of a gut feeling. So if you're talking about who you're tailing on today's show, I think it's pretty obvious that it's gonna be someone that is not myself.
I mean,
I told Liv, I said to her, first of all, I lost track of time completely. She's messaging me and I saw her message around 2:20 here on the East Coast. She said, I'll send you a link soon. I'm like, great, cool. I don't know what happened. It was 2:58. I thought, ooh, okay. That's Liv telling me that she's actually going to be ready in 40 minutes. I'm in the middle of Chris Paul props. I'm trying to figure it out.
And hopefully those assists go to McCall Bridges. We can have a double hit.
Everything that was just said, you can't. This is a perfect example, though, where, and I'm not saying that Ariel's props are not going to hit because let's be real.
I know where you're going.
But
I agree.
You can have all the information. You can have all the stats, all the analysis, all the right information. And you just never know. Like last night, I'm still holding on to it. I was getting roasted about taking the under on James Harden assists. Listen, I know taking the under on James Harden is never the greatest idea. However, the thought was there. We see a pattern with Harden that when Kyrie is not playing, he focuses on scoring, which he did that. And we see an average of 10 assists with Kyrie out. So for me, a line at 12.5, I had some wiggle room there. He can get 10. He can even get 11 or 12, and I'm still good. Well, did I know he was going to get 15? Absolutely not. Okay.
No, I told you this, Liv, too, before we came on the show. I said, I saw exactly what you saw with the James Harden props. If I had to bet James Harden, I would have bet that under too if I had to. I just get too nervous to bet unders on James Harden because on any given night, he can go off. That's what makes it so tough to bet unders on a team like the Brooklyn Nets. On a team, let's see, like even the Washington Wizards, like offensively, they're just so good. It's very hard to bet unders on certain teams where there are a lot of different players who can perform well. Bradley Beal always performs well, but I think also when I think of a player like Russell Westbrook, some days he's great offensively, and some days he's more just on the boards and dishing it out. That's what makes it so difficult with someone like a James Harden. There are nights where he'll only have about 18 to 20 points, and he'll have 15 assists. Without Kyrie Irving, where was the points coming from? You knew it was Harden. You would assume if it's going to be Harden scoring, then he wouldn't have 15 assists. Well, he did, but, you know.
And then Harden was like, that makes sense, but I'll just go ahead and have a game.
Right. Yeah. I completely underestimated his athleticism. That's really what it boils down to. And you know what? The nerves that you feel about betting the under on Harden, I have the same thing. But what I see is that plus sign and I see value. And all of a sudden the nerves just fly away. And I'm like, plus money? Huh. Love it. Grabbing it. Here we go.
But also, Liv, we're talking unders here. I mean, that is just vile to be discussing when I'm in the show. I can't talk about an under.
You can't. It makes him nauseous. He is not an under guy. You know what? I will say I'm normally not either. I don't like unders. First of all, it's not fun to watch unders. You're nervous the whole game. You can't enjoy it. When an over cashes before half, you know how good it is to just watch basketball when you know you already made money? I mean, it's fantastic. With unders, there's always still time for that under bet to not hit. And that is what I hate, because you are sitting on pins and needles the whole game going, oh God, Harden's at halftime with 11. Oh God. And the whole thing, it ruins the experience. So I'm with you. But again, when I'm looking at the numbers, when I'm looking at the situation, when I'm looking at Kyrie being out, it just made sense.
And here's the thing too, like I was just mentioning with the Chris Paul props. Although it's 6 out of 10 games where he's hit the over on 8.5 assists in the last 10, in addition to hitting in 11 of the 16 games where he's faced the bottom 10 team in assists, there's still that room where there's those 4 or 5 games that it didn't hit. You just know if you blind bet it every single game against the team bottom 10 in assists, you're going to come out profitable more than you're going to lose on it. That's why I think it's a good bet when you find that edge that you're going to win much more. I'm not even talking one game above 500. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 games above 500 here that you're going to hit this prop more than you're going to lose it. That's when it's a good bet.
Absolutely. And we were talking, we went live on FanDuel's Instagram today, and we were talking about how everybody has a lot to say when you lose and not a whole lot to say when you win. And that's just the world of sports betting. I tweeted something yesterday and I said, oh, I'm sorry, my free bet that you willingly took didn't hit. We'll try again tomorrow. Because honestly, you feel the pressure and you're like, this is a free pick. I don't know what you're upset about, because I didn't tell you to take it. I just said, here's what I like. And you decided to place it.
Exactly.
Everyone's always sharp in hindsight. Everyone is always sharp in hindsight.
Yes. And Aaron said a really great thing. She said, instead of chirping me, just take the other side of the bet. If you're so confident that I don't know what I'm talking about, then fade me. Like, you don't even have to chirp me. Just fade me and then post your bet slip afterwards. Like,
this is a fact.
You don't even, it's just so funny. And, as you get into this industry more and more, you realize that there's a whole lot of people that just talk and you just have to tune it out.
Yeah, tune it out. Have faith in your handicap. You're in the position that you're in for a reason. I also want to talk about what we said before, Liv and Mikey. We were talking in the prior to coming on about those the double props, rebounds plus assists, points plus assists, points plus rebounds. I love those in the NBA. I think FanDuel did a great job in giving us that. Other books do not have that option. That has been extremely profitable for me. Instead of having to worry about Draymond Green, because people said, and people actually reached out to me. I told you about the James Harden props yesterday. They said, do you like over rebounds or over assists? I said, well, if you think he's going to have a good game in both those spots, then why don't you just bet the rebounds plus assists prop? Because then you don't have to worry if he does hit one or the other. If he has a really good game assists-wise, then Harden, if let's just say usually for Harden, it's 19.5 rebounds plus assists or 20.5 rebounds plus assists. All you have to worry about, okay, well, if James Harden gets 15 assists in the game, as he did last night, then he needs 5-6 rebounds. He's going to hit that. Yeah. That's why I think those props are so much fun, especially James Harden, Draymond Green, sometimes Zach LaVine or Kobe White. Now that Kobe White's bench, that's a different story. There are some players that are just really profitable to rebounds plus assists because they're good at one of those categories on a given night. You don't have to worry about figuring out which one. You can just hope both.
I say that with Mike all the time on Prop Talk. I say my favorite prop for the most part is points plus assists for starting point guards, because
Liv loves it.
We see so many point guards right now in the league, especially that are shooting really well. Not only are they facilitating, but they're shooting really well. And some of them are the leading scorers half the time. And so I love that points plus assists, because if a team buckles down on the starting point guard and really guards them well, then they're going to pass the ball a lot. So you're bound to hit that over in the assists at least. So I love that prop.
Right.
And you know what?
And they can hit it with just points sometimes too.
Absolutely. That's why
great.
It gives
I think it's a great prop, except when Liv puts it on Ben Simmons. That makes me want to just get sick.
You know what? I smashed on it though, Mike.
Get sick live is what that makes me want to do.
But I do think that's a really good thing to bring up, Ariel, because I think FanDuel right now, there's a lot of people upset about the update with the same game parlay. And trust me, it was a weird adjustment for me as well, because I was so used to my routine of, okay, here's the hot matchup of the night. I'm going to do this and this and this. I loved it. However, there is a lot of value elsewhere if you really get creative. I've started doing, 2 of the point guards that are going to be awesome tonight and on fire. You take those points plus assists and you parlay them together. You get equal value. You get equally great value. You just have to take a little bit more time to look at some other games. So rather than screaming at FanDuel for the update, take your time, look at other games, because you can get great value. I've almost gotten equally, if not better, value without these same game parlays being the way that they used to, because it kind of forces you to find that plus money elsewhere. So I've loved it, actually. But I think those combo props are awesome. And
I would also like to say, before the show, we were talking about a couple props here and there, and I have to say, I respect so much that Ariel, when she feels like she can't give you like a really good analysis on something, she just says, hey, listen, I can't take a side on that. I can't do it. I am just the complete opposite, where anything anyone asks me, if they're like, hey man, what do you think about this? I immediately go off my gut and I'm just like, I think you should ride it. I think you should. Like,
I
don't know how you have that self-control.
That's amazing.
I wake up about 3 minutes before the show and I just look at FanDuel for $5. I'm just kidding. But seriously, I think there's a lot of value in, like, if you don't feel comfortable about a pick, not giving advice. I'm so bad at that, because any prop anyone asks me, I have to give my advice.
No, you know what his slogan is? I'll text him a bunch and say, hey, I'm a little nervous about this. What do you think? His response is always, could be tasty. I'm
could be tasty. Could be
That's
tasty.
helpful.
Help me,
Could be
Mike.
tasty.
I need a little bit more than that. Of course it could be tasty. They're all tasty if they hit.
But also,
I need some advice.
You have to be wary with certain props. You have to. Ariel, my thing is, if I don't like a prop or something scares me and Liv texts me about it, I just say I would be wary. And that word sets Liv off like no other. Like
Let me just say this much. If I took a sip of Kim Crawford every time he said wary, I'd be blacked out on the floor. Honest to God. Because every time I text him, but half the time he's wary because he just doesn't like the player. I'm like, set aside your bias and actually tell me if you think that this prop is decent. He's like, I would still be wary. I'm like, that's it. I'm done.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing, Ariel. That's tough, because there's times where I can't just look at the numbers. If I don't like the guy, or I just think he's bad at basketball.
Personally or statistically?
Like personally, just in a like when Liv texts me, hey, what do you think about this Nicholas Batum line? my first reaction is that is disgusting. I would never put my money on Nicholas Batum, but there might be juice there. only when they're Ben Simmons and Nicholas Batum props is my face like that. Only.
Oh, yes. You also do that with Jamal Murray.
Okay, well, don't even get me started on Jamal Murray.
List.
It's not so much a hate list.
We have a graveyard. We have a graveyard.
Okay, I get that.
Heard us enough times. They're in the graveyard. They're dead to us. We are not.
I have a team graveyard. Okay. I do not bet Pelicans props ever. If any of my friends send me Pelicans, I say get away. I'm out. I don't bet them.
You guys heard it here first. Ariel Epstein just added the Pelicans to the prop
graveyard. Think about it. You try to bet a rebounds prop. It's either Zion Williamson or Steven Adams. Never do they both hit. Likely, if you bet one, the other one's going to hit. Same thing for props, for points props. Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram. Likely, you're going to bet one and the other one's going to hit. I'm done. I don't like the guessing game. I don't do the guessing game. It doesn't work for me.
Nope.
I've been on the wrong side of Brandon Ingram's points too many times this year.
There you go. So don't bury Ingram, bury the Pelicans.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Brandon Ingram at the free throw line in the last stretch of that game against the Raptors, well, he crapped the bed. He missed both of them, and this would have put them up by, I think, 4 or something, so they would have had some wiggle room. Well, missed them. Dame gets to the line, makes both, and then they lose.
Game time.
Yeah.
Liv also has a personal connection with guys that are bad at free throws down the stretch, because if you didn't know, in 8th grade, Olivia Moody had to take a technical free throw in crunch time and absolutely drained it. So,
right, and that's probably why it's just a technical and not a harsher penalty. Ooh, Kuzma, airball.
That is why Kyle Kuzma is in the prop talk graveyard. I don't even have to explain myself. I've given him enough chances to show me that he deserves to be in the NBA. And that moment right there confirmed why he's got a tombstone. He's deep in the ground and he's never coming out because
the Lakers are also in my graveyard until the playoffs. I don't bet Lakers props. I don't know, aside for last year with LeBron James assist props, which were just a sure over every time, this year's not the same, especially without Anthony Davis. I don't know what to expect out of the Lakers. I don't bet them. The last time I bet the Lakers on a prop was Montrezl Harrell to go over his rebounds prop. He doesn't hit it. I was really upset because the handicap was spot on. It just didn't hit. I said, I'm done. The playing time, everything, it just didn't add up. Montrezl Harrell out of nowhere wasn't really playing enough minutes to hit his prop. I said, I don't know what to expect out of the Lakers. I don't know what to expect out of the Clippers. I don't know what to expect out of the Pelicans. I don't bet those 3 teams.
You know you've screwed up royally when the prop queen Ariel Epstein says she's done with you.
Yeah, that's a fact.
You have screwed up.
I hope I never get canceled by Ariel. That would kill me.
I feel like you're a forgiving person. I feel like you give second chances. If you're done with someone, that's it.
So, Liv, what's your prop? You still haven't told us your prop, Liv.
You guys, okay.
She's hiding.
Oh, yeah.
She's hiding.
She was burying the lead.
She's hiding.
So I had 2, one of which is no longer because I think this is advice I'm saying to people, but I'm also saying to myself is if you're like this, don't bet it. Just leave it alone. If you can't, if you're back and forth and back, and then you're talking yourself into it and then you're out of it, every time I have a prop like that and I go through with it, I end up regretting it. So
also let the people know it wasn't under. That's just disgusting. But yeah, go ahead.
Whatever. Either way, I had a prop, hated it. Well, I couldn't decide if I hated it, so now I'm just done. It's getting scribbled right there.
These are incredible.
The live graphics on Prop Talk might be top 5 in the industry. I'm not.
These are fantastic.
All right, so I'm on a teeter-totter with Vucevic right now. So I am going to go with one though that I feel really good about. I've already locked it in. That is LaMelo Ball over 5.5 assists. He's going up against Dennis Schroeder. Dennis Schroeder is a great guard. So I can see LaMelo Ball. I'm hoping for Mikey Over's sake that LaMelo does shoot well tonight, but I also see him getting rid of the ball quite a bit, facilitating that offense a little bit more because I think he's going to be guarded pretty well against Dennis Schroeder. So I do like this one. The line's at over 5.5. I think he hits this just fine up against this Lakers team. I think the Hornets they're the dog tonight, so they're going to have to play some good ball up against this very inconsistent, weird, awkward Lakers team. Lakers right now remind me of myself in middle school. Like, I haven't grown into my body.
Do we have a picture of that? Do we have a meme of that?
You know what? Maybe we'll post a picture.
Yeah, that was actually so good.
I'll quote this episode with a middle school picture and say, this is what the Lakers remind me of. I will absolutely do that.
Perfect.
Liv has yet to see it, but in middle school, I used to rock the Justin Bieber haircut, and I think she would get a kick out of it. But you saying that, I just resonated like to my soul about this Laker team. Like being that age, so awkward, like so uncomfortable. Like this Laker team is exactly like that.
You don't even know what you don't even know what your vibe is. You're like just sitting in with the trends. You don't know what your style is yet. Like,
are you silly bands
you
on my wrist?
You lost your best friend. He probably is, just get away from you for a little bit, like Anthony Davis.
High school photo. That's from high school.
That is not the Bieber cut.
That is not the Bieber cut. But that was quick. Jason is sharp with the live graphics today.
Jason is currently on our mom's Facebooks right now. Jason's off there.
Yeah. Oh my
god!
Oh my god!
There it is.
How would you describe the Lakers team right now?
Oh my god!
Over in middle school.
How did you just find that so fast? And how did you cut it and get it up there within seconds?
Oh wow, that is good.
Wow.
That was talent.
So
that's a Syracuse grad right there.
So this Lakers team, like I said, awkward middle schoolers. That's the vibe I'm getting from them. They just haven't found their style. They've got the I Heart Boobies bracelets on, silly bands up to the elbow. They're just weird. They're awkward.
Back then. I don't know why.
They're awkward. So but I do think
the choker necklaces. They're choking.
Yes, absolutely. I think that Dennis Schroeder, though, I will give credit where it's due. He has really stepped in as AD's, fill in for now. And he's really proved himself to be a very strong player.
Agreed.
Especially, him and LeBron have made a pretty good, solid team trying to pick up the mess that was left when AD, has that injury. So I like Dennis Schroeder. I think he's great on defense. I think he guards LaMelo pretty well. I still think LaMelo has a great game, but I do see LaMelo passing the ball quite a bit and kind of being more facilitator rather than a scorer. So over 5.5, that is the one that I'm rocking with today. Everything else?
Jared Smith and I said on the morning after today, the Lakers are coming off of a few very good games, important ones. We knew that LeBron would want to play primetime against the Warriors, against Steph Curry, proving himself. Tonight, we weren't so sure. In Staples Center, it's a Charlotte Hornets team that's average. Do the Lakers have to play up? My point was, is Michael Jordan going to Staples Center to watch his team, the Hornets, play? If MJ is in the house, then maybe you go bet some LeBron props. I want some video footage of LeBron James pointing at MJ if he's sitting on the floor or in a suite. I want LeBron James pointing to MJ when he goes crazy on a night that MJ's in the house. If MJ's not there, then whatever.
I like that thought there. I think I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you, as an option, but I'm feeling that.
I would also be wary when MJ's in the building, the Hornets play up. So if he's in the building, sense. I would be careful.
You know what? I'm actually liking the Hornets tonight to cover the spread. I am. I swear. I am. Because I think mostly because I just don't know what I'm going to get from the Lakers. And I will say that the Hornets this year have really shown that they can hang with the big dogs. And just when you think they're plateauing, they get exciting again and they kick it up a notch. And I think we're going to see that tonight.
The Hornets are fun to watch, and they're a playoff team right now. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year that the Charlotte Hornets and Boston Celtics would be around the same place in the standings, I would have thought that the Celtics' entire starting rotation was hurt and that they were in last place, tied with the Hornets. I would not have thought it would have been the other way around.
Ariel unleashes on the Hornets.
I mean, honestly, though, but you're right. And they have really proved themselves. So I actually think we get a great game tonight. I like the Hornets to cover. LaMelo Ball hits his over in rebounds. LaMelo Ball scores 15 plus. And then you've got Chris Paul's assists, I believe is what you said. Mm-hmm. Oh, and mine wasn't rebounds. Mine was assists as well.
You're good.
And then, Mike, did you have another one?
McCall Bridges over 12.5. And then Ariel also had, I think, Rudy Gobert and Royce O'Neal parlayed with rebounds.
Exactly.
So,
yes.
you know,
the alternate prop rebounds, not their actual rebounds props.
This prop talk episode is just to show you that there is diamonds in the rough, and some slates. We hope.
Or they're just rough. We'll find out.
Or they're rough and there's no diamonds. That's fine. Some slates are just not great, and tonight's one of them. I can tell the moment I look at the slate, I'm like, oh, I'm just not gonna love anything right now. And again, Ariel was talking before the show about finding that edge, finding that loophole, and getting after it, and that's how she creates her props. And sometimes you've got to really search for those, which is why always respect the people that are dishing out their free picks, because we don't just come up with them out of thin air. This takes time. We take our time to figure these out, and some days, all the analysis in the world, it won't hit. So go easy on us, people. I've been in an exposing mood lately. If you haven't seen my Twitter, just check it out.
I did. I saw.
You know what?
The stats was coming out.
Don't come after me, because I'm very easy to get along with. But when you start hitting me too hard, I'm like, okay, now the big guns are coming out. MikeyOver told me a couple episodes ago I'm looking pretty ripped, so watch out. I've been getting strong.
Listen, we learned a lot this episode.
On social media.
We learned a lot this episode. We learned that I'm definitely not sharp. Ariel hates the Pelicans for just absolutely cancel the Pelicans.
I look so happy.
She is. She's so happy.
She's so happy.
Out.
No, but we learned a lot. And I think, also.
We also learned that the Lakers are MikeyOver in
middle school. Just awkward, uncomfortable.
Yep. Her hair, silly man, whole nine.
That is crazy to see. Oh my God. But yeah, this has been Prop Talk. Ariel, where can they find you? Where can the people find you?
All over social media, Ariel Epstein at Twitter, Ariel Epstein on Instagram. I'm trying to boost that Instagram following like LivMoods. And then also on Sports Grid, all over the Sports Grid platforms. We are on the morning after at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern time every Monday through Friday. It is so much fun. SiriusXM channel 204.
Yeah, that show is incredible. If you guys have not tuned in, you absolutely need to. I had a chance to guest on there. Of course, every prop I gave didn't hit. It's fine. We bounce back. But great show. They've got great analysis. They're talking all things sports, not just NBA. So on Prop Talk, we focus NBA, but the morning after, they have got everything. So make sure you guys tune in there. Obviously, LivMoods at MikeyOver on the Book It Sports app. We're also all over Twitter and Instagram as well, just talking all things sports betting, because this industry rocks and we love what we do. So, Ariel, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be sure to
help you guys.
Appreciate you so much, and we will see you guys for the next episode. Stay tuned next week.